Okay, if you're watching this video, you should have already tried everything on this paper, done all the problems that you know, because that is really like the more important way to learn, okay? But if you're stuck on some problems, that's okay. Let's go. I'm gonna draw a line right here at the equal sign. Here's my x. I want my x by itself. So I need to get rid of this divided by 4, and I need to get rid of this adding -5. We always deal with addition and subtraction first. Let's get rid of this plus -5 first. How do I get rid of -5? I'm gonna add 5. Okay, make sure you bring everything straight down. So what's here is x over 4 equals, this is -9 plus 5. I have more negatives than positives, and so that's negative. And I'm subtracting because they're different signs. That's -4. This says x divided by 4. I want to do the opposite. I'm going to multiply by 4. Multiply by 4. Okay, so I get x equals negative times positive is negative. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, here, let's read. Ms. Broderick has 40 pencils in the cup at the beginning of the year. Each day, 5 mysteriously disappear. True story. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, here's what you need to remember about slope-intercept form. Okay, like this. This is the starting point. Okay, and this is how the number is changing. So in this case, right, I'm starting with 40 pencils. Okay, and how is my number of pencils changing? Look, 5 are disappearing. Am I gaining 5 or losing 5 each day? I'm losing 5. So in this case, my rate of change is -5. So my equation looks like this. Y equals -5x plus 40. I'm starting with 40 and losing 5 each day. This one says, rearrange into slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form looks like this. So my goal is at the end that my equation looks like this. All right, so let's write it. And let's rearrange. I notice, look, here's my equal sign. The only thing I want on the left side of my equation is this y. I want to get rid of everything else. So let's start by getting rid of the term with the x. I'm going to add 5x to both sides. Okay, now, these are not like terms, so I'm not combining them. Look here, I'm just going to bring down what's left over here, which is -4y, right? This canceled. Over here, I'm not combining these are not like terms, right? But I am bringing down my 5x and my -8. And notice that I brought down the term with the x first, because, look, I'm just used to it being first. It wouldn't be wrong the other way, but just get a little confused. All right, now, y is being multiplied by -4. I want y to be by itself. I'm going to divide by -4 all the way through. And then just be really careful with your handwriting here. Don't lose the negative. And let's take a look at our signs. Positive divided by negative. That's a negative. If I put 5 divided by 4 on my calculator, I get a decimal. So we don't work with decimals. We're just going to leave it as a fraction, 5 over 4. Make sure to put the 5 on top, right? It's 5 divided by 4. X, and this is negative divided by negative, is positive, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, moving on. Here, you have 2 choices. You can do this process right here. Okay, you could rearrange. That would totally work. Okay, I'm going to show that one first, but then I'm also going to show that you can use intercepts. Okay, so really quick, I'm going to do this process real quick. So exactly the same. I want to leave the y by itself. Okay, again, I'm not combining like terms here, and I'm going to divide by 3 all the way through. This is 4 divided by 3, x, and then 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so this means I'm going to start my graph at a y-intercept of 2. I'm going to go up 4, right 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You can make another point if you want to make your line neater on the paper, right? I can do the opposite. I can go down 4 and left 3 just to make my line neater. Okay, but my line's going to look something like this. Good. Now, the other option I had is I could have plugged in 0 for this x value. Okay, look, and then 4 times 0 is 0, right? So I get this equation, 3y equals 6. When I divide by 3 on both sides, I get y equals 2. So that's this point, 0, 2. Okay, look, this is one method. I didn't leave myself quite enough space to show you both methods. I could also plug in 0. So if I do this method, I plugged in 0 for x, and I'm also going to plug in 0 for y. I'm going to just squeeze that in right here. What this is me finding my x and y intercepts. So here, 3 times 0 is 0. I can divide by -4 on both sides. Okay, I get x equals, and look, this is a little Tricky, but I get negative 1.5, right? Use your calculator, it's not a big deal. So then that point is negative 1.5, 0. Okay, and notice I can graph those 2 points. Look, here's 0, 2. And here's negative 1.5, 0. And notice if I just use those 2 points, I would end up with the same line. Okay, those are your 2 options here. All right, next question. Let's solve the system. Okay, notice I have y equals 2x minus 9. And then I have another equation down here that also has an x and a y. Here's what I observe right away. This y is by itself on one side of the equal sign. What that allows me to do is use substitution. Okay, this y is equal to this 2x minus 9. So this y down here, which is the same y, is also equal to 2x minus 9. So what I can do is I can write this equation, but instead of the y, I can plug in 2x minus 9. Now, why do I care? Because now I have an equation that only has an x and no y, which means I can solve it. Let's start by multiplying. So I have negative 2x plus 4 times 2, 8x, 4 times negative 9. Okay, I'm going to combine my like terms. That's 6x minus 36 equals negative 24. Okay, now I'm going to get x by itself. So I'm going to draw a line right here. I want to get rid of this minus 36 first. This is 6x equals, this is the same as 36 minus 24. That's 12. Divide by 6, and x equals 2. Okay, now I'm not done. I only have an x value. Remember, when I'm solving a system, I need an x value and a y value. So let's go back in and find my y value. I'm going to use this top equation. I'm going to plug in. And I'm going to do the math. 2 times 2 is 4 minus 9, and this equals negative 5. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the y value is negative 5. I'm going to check it. I'm going to use the bottom equation to check. Okay, and this is a really important skill because on the final you do not have answer checks. So you being able to check your own answer is going to save your butt if you make a little mistake. This is negative 2x plus 4y equals negative 24. Okay, so now this is negative 2 times 2, that's negative 4. 4 times negative 5, that's negative 20, equals negative 24. And when I combine, I have 4 negatives and 20 negatives. That is indeed negative 24. And I am good to go. And there's my answer. All right, let's go ahead and graph this system. I notice both of these are in y equals mx plus b slope-intercept form. So this is my y-intercept. This is my slope, my rise over run. So let's take a look. I'm going to start at my y-intercept. Make sure you always start on the y-axis. And then here my slope is 2 over 3. So I'm going to rise 2, run 3. Okay, and so that's this line. Make sure to draw it as straight as you can. And then here my equation is y-intercept is negative 5. Now look, my slope is to go down 2, right 1. Oh, I don't have space to go down 2, right 1. So let's do the opposite. Instead of going down 2 and right 1, I'm going to do exactly the opposite. I'm going to go up 2 and left 1. So look, up 2, left 1. Okay, and then look, let's just do it again. Up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. And we can see our solution is going to be right here. Go ahead and sketch the line. And our solution is right here. Okay, what's that solution point? That's this point, x value first. So negative 3 and a y value of 1. Okay, there it is. Last line, here we go. Remember with these, there's the x value inside the parentheses, and we're trying to find the y value. So here, if I go to an x value of 6, okay, what I'm doing is I'm looking all along this line is where the x values are 6, right? Like this, think about this. This is 6, 4. This is 6, 2. This is 6, negative 2, right? All along this line, the x values are 6. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for where's the graph. And it's right here. And that y value is negative 2. Okay, if I go to an x value of positive 2, go look, where's the graph? Here it is. The y value is 6. Here I'm going to an x value of negative 2. Look up and down, find the graph. Here it is. And the y value is 4. And finally, let's go to an x value of 5. And where's the graph? It's actually sitting right here on the line, and that is a y value of 0, right? If I follow, where is that on the y-axis? Oh, it's right here at 0. All right, let's solve this system. Let me observe the system. Here's what I observe. They're both in standard form, which means elimination is probably the easiest bet. And in fact, in this particular case, elimination is definitely the best bet because look what I observe. If I add these equations together, this is going to be 4y minus 4y, and that is going to equal 0. It's going to be lovely. So now when I add negative 3 plus 5, okay, that's the same as 5 minus 3, that's 2x. And this is 24 minus 32. I have more negatives than positives, so make sure that's negative. This is negative 8. I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. And I get x equals negative 4. Okay, once again, with systems, remember, I'm not done yet. I have my x value, and I still need my y value. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug my x value into this first equation, and I'll check it in the second equation. So, look, instead of x, I'm plugging in negative 4. Okay, this is 12 plus 4y equals 24. I get y equals 3. Let's write it here, and then let's squeeze in. I'm going to write really small, and I'm going to check my answer right here. Okay, I'm going to use the other equation, right? I used the top equation to find y. I'm going to use the other equation to check it. So 5x minus 4y equals negative 32. Let's see, this is negative 20. This is negative 12. Does that add to negative 32? Yep, 20 negatives and 12 more negatives. That does indeed equal negative 32, and we're good. Okay, this one, don't overthink it. This is y equals mx plus b. Okay, my b is positive 16. My m is negative 5. Done. That's it. Please don't write negative 5x, right? The x is an x, but this is the m value here. Okay, this says find the y-intercept of this equation. Here's what I need to remember about y-intercepts. Let's say this is the equation. The y-intercept is the point on the y-axis. That point is always going to have an x value of 0, and then whatever y value it ends up with. So as soon as you see something asking for the y-intercept, you know to put 0 for the x. And we can do that same thing here in the equation where we're plugging in 0 for x. 6 times 0 is 0, so I get this equation, negative 5y equals 10. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. I get y equals negative 2. And there it is.